money. I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah.
What's going on, guys? It's Rose, the realtor, your home's expert. So we're here to just have a little chat, coming from a realtor perspective, and who else to do it with? I got my guy, Mike. Mike, what's going on, my man?
I'm good, Rose. How are you?
All is well. You know, we just want to talk a little bit about the CPRG perspective when it comes to, you know, agents, how we've been dealing with this market as things have been shifting. Do you feel a shift when it comes to this market?
I feel a huge shift. This last quarter has been tearing me up. I'm not going to lie. I have deals under contract, which is good.
Yeah.
But as far as the flow of deals, how I had them coming before, it's been a little harder. The interest rate has been kind of killing everybody. So
man, let's talk about it, man.
Yeah.
The interest rate has just been hiking like crazy. And the funny thing is, I was thinking this morning, I'm like, man, sometimes we don't want to get into politics, but we don't realize like how the government can affect our daily businesses, man, and interest rate. So what are some of the interest rate have you seen on the market lately?
I actually just did a call not so long ago with my buyer. And without buying down anything at all, I think it was like a 7.8. Buying down, I want to say, I think it was like 14,000 he had to put in.
Yeah.
That put him at like a 7 point something. And then the highest buy down, I think, was like 20,000.
Yeah.
That put him at like a 6 point, like in the high sixes.
So now we don't want people to be discouraged when they hear these numbers, because my highest I've seen was 8.9. You know, I just got quoted 8.9, and my buyer he's a little bit discouraged. But what you said,
oh, you got to marry the home and not the interest.
Man, I like that, man. So you got to marry the home, not the interest. And the reason, if we had a few advice to tell people as this thing is shifting, I'll say definitely, when you do own a home, you have the flexibility, right? You have the stability that it provides. And our broker, Emmett, always say, you know, it's best when things happen for you than to you, right? Because when you rent, things just happen to you. You can't control, like, at the end of the day, they can raise, you know, the rent. They can increase it. Next thing you know, the market, let's just say the market crashed, since everyone is always open for the market to crash.
Yeah.
I've been hearing that for the past 6-7 years.
Yeah.
And let's just say the market is crashing and you were in a lease for a year and you were paying $2,500 a month. It's not going down. You know, you're still gonna be stuck to that lease. And that's one thing, like you said, it's just like, you know, you married a house, right? And don't worry about the interest rate. And one thing about that is good, is the fact that the stability that it provides you when it comes to owning a home. I think that's one approach that people should look at. You know, because once you set, you can refinance, right?
Correct. And that's what and that's why I like the buyer I have now.
Yeah.
Is because I feel like, which we've kind of conditioned him to kind of get to that point, because this is his first home.
Yeah.
But he's at the point, he's kind of in that marry the house over the interest rate. And he was like, you know what, at this point, I don't want to put too much money into anything else, because he's already spent out a lot of money between his taxes and everything. So he was like, you know what, let me just go ahead and get the house. Let me take whatever interest rate that they give me. Yeah. Because it depends on the type of house that you have too. Luckily, it's new construction, so he has a lot of equity already.
Mention a little bit about that, like the equity when it comes to like new construction, like when it comes to not marrying the interest.
Yeah. So with his situation, being that he has so much equity, he can look forward to refinancing.
True.
So you know you have to be at a certain percentage to kind of refinance. And is it 20? No, it ain't 20%.
It's your LTV ratio. It's like 80% or something like that. Yeah.
So
you're gonna be able to refinance.
He's going to be basically at the percentage, because we're looking at, they're saying that with the projection is that rates are going down by the summertime. Yeah. So with the builder that he's with, they're giving a free refinance. Yeah. So he has after he closed, 6 to 18 months to refinance. Yeah. Yeah. So he's like, okay, well, you know what? Instead of me spending up to $20,000 to try to get my rate reduced, let me spend the extra money. It's going to be extra couple of $100 per month, and I'll just refinance. And
to that point is, I think refinancing, you also can keep some money. I've had a client that refinanced and he was able to pay 2 cars. So the bank gave him a choice and said, hey, we're not going to give you a liquid, but we can pay some of your liability. And he paid off 2 cars.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
And then he refinanced. His mortgage was lower. And then he was able to be able to live with, whatever he had and moving forward. So yeah, so it's just the options, I think, as the market is shifting, because I was thinking, I'm like, okay, about 3 years ago, things was like, interest rate was like 5.5, 6 points. And then we entered into COVID, right? Unprecedented time, like no one can control. And with COVID, now we didn't know. We heard a lot of people, especially our buyers, saying the market was going to crash because we were going to lose jobs.
Everybody waited.
Everybody wanted to wait, but money was so cheap because interest rate was so low.
Yeah.
Even then, a lot of people still didn't purchase, right? And then now we got into a bidding market. It was just a bidding war all over the place. Still then people was like, we're going to wait, until things get better. And then now for them to stabilize the market, they increase interest rate. So it's just to prove to us, right, Mike? Like, it's real estate is, you just got to get into it, right? Wouldn't you say?
Correct. Usually when I'm asked the question as far as like when is the best time to buy, I say when you have the money. Because something's always going to happen. Something's always going to occur. And as you said, a lot of people have lost out on getting into the home they wanted because they're waiting on this whole crash. So you're either going to have a lower house price but high interest, or a good home price with a high home price with low interest, or either you're going to have a good home price because so many people are putting in bids. You have to go over asking, so you're paying the extra money anyway on top of the interest. So it's just like things kind of flex out itself anyway. So it just depends on if you're ready at a time. I would say grab it. Because
I say the same thing. I say preparedness. At the end of the day, like if you prepare yourself, you position yourself, then when the opportunity comes, you take whichever opportunity it is, right? You jump on it. Because at the end of the day, if a crash happens, I always tell people, because even though I was a young boy, but 2008, I was a young man to see what was going on. A lot of people lost their jobs.
I was just about to say, usually, and that's the thing, that the crash doesn't just affect the housing market. It affects everything. So you have, and let's just say, okay, let's say you did lose your job. And what do you think the difference would be between staying in an apartment that you're renting out compared to you having your own home? What is the benefit?
Major benefits. Like, you lose your job, you have 3 days. In the state of Florida, you have 3 days before they can file for eviction, right? You can get evicted right away, and then the process is probably going to take you about 30 days to get out, and sometimes sooner. Whereas when it comes to owning a home, you can file for distress. You can prove that you're not working and present yourself to a judge. And I've seen people in 2008. I have people personally in 2008 that stay in their property for over 5 years. Because they were able to show and prove the fact that, hey, I don't, I'm going through, I'm under duress, I'm going through a tough time, and then the bank understood that because you actually own it. Whereas when it comes to us landlord, we want that return on our investment. And so I think it's important, as the market is shifting for a buyer standpoint, is, for us not to be afraid, right? Because once you own, you have so many flexibilities, like so many options, from refinancing to taking a HELOC to, staying in your property, renting your property, a room to someone else. Some of us have 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, and it's only 2 or 3 people in the property. So if you hit hard time, just rent a room.
Correct.
Right? So I think that's one of the things. And how have been your experience when it comes to new construction? How have you seen a shift? Because I know new construction was a lot, during the past year that we're going through when it comes to, building time. And
so with new construction, I feel like it has the pros and cons. I think it has more pros. Of course, you got the cons of waiting and everything like that. But because of the shift in the market and how things have gone and so many people pulling back, that has released so much inventory to where the builders are now basically pushing their homes like, hey, we have this and we'll give this to you. So each month there have been different incentives given. I've seen builders giving up to $40,000 for like closing costs or upgrades,
buy down rates.
Right, buying down rates, and then let's say your buyer, he's at like an 8 point something now with the interest rate.
8.9.
You have builders now who are still giving interest rates of like 5.9.
Yeah.
So it's like you have those incentives, and those are on homes that are either ready now or that can close within the next month.
Is there still a lot of waiting lists?
No.
See that?
No. Now there is one builder I got to check because they've always had a waiting list, but for the most part, no, because everybody has some type of inventory. The only way you won't benefit from it is if you want to actually put in all your upgrades. But at this point, like I say, marry the house and then do everything afterwards. I think people get fixated on trying to get everything that they want at that time. You're in the house, take your time and do it. But what you want to do is make sure you're making the right decision financially, which is going and taking care of the making sure you're taking advantage of the right price and the interest rate that they're giving. Like if it's free money, take it.
Yeah, and then from the resale side too, just to provide that perspective is I've been able to send offers less than 100,000.
Really?
Then, got and accepted.
Really?
Entertained, negotiated. I sent an offer this morning. They were asking 317. We sent in 230, and they counter offer 240. And then the agent told me he's most likely going to take it. So from the resale side too, although they may not be able to pay down your rate, but you can get a lot less when it comes to a property because now you're getting a $30,000 discount, $50,000 discount because every $10,000 you're saving a good $50 to $60 on your mortgage. And I think it's always the right time to jump into this market. It's
correct.
Prepare like, your income. You should always want to grow, have a goal for yourself, your credit, work on your credit, save your money, and then just be ready to just embark into this new journey of home ownership.
Correct. So who do you think, and I got one in mind, like who do you think could really benefit from this market?
Oh man, a lot of my entrepreneurs, self-employed clients are able, because they didn't want to deal with the bidding war. They're able to deal with this market. A lot of my travel nurses, because travel nurses was good for the past 2 years. I've seen nurses made over 6 figures in 6 months. Yeah, and I think this market is a good shift because now you're no longer in a bidding war, and you make the income. And it's asset over liability. At the end of the day, like if you don't spend the money towards asset, you will waste it into a liability, right?
And that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation for another time. But I definitely think a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals, the PAs, the nurses, the doctors, the lawyers. I think this is the market for them. To be able to still having that buying power, but negotiate less. From a new construction standpoint, like you were stating, is to be able to still get all those incentives. Right? What would you say about that when it comes to clientele?
For me, I would say investors.
Yeah.
Because at this point, like I say, so much inventory is coming.
That too.
So the prices are starting to decrease. Now they're not going back to what they used to, but they're starting to decrease. And as an investor, especially if you have all that money, you're not worried about interest rates anyway.
Yeah.
So this is your time now for the price point for what you're looking for. You don't have to worry about fighting nobody for a bid.
Yeah.
You can come in cash and instantly get the house.
True. And you get your cash flow too, because that's what's important.
Correct.
Your cash flow is important.
Because you got a lot of people that still need to rent these properties.
Yeah. So definitely, I think, man, this market is talking to someone that's done it, that's experienced, and that can give you the different options. I still stick with it, Mike, and I said, to educate you, provide option, and deliver good result. If you have the proper education, then now you'll be able to look at the choices that you have. Because life, once you have choices, life is a lot better. Because you have choices, and I think that's what we would provide. And because if I don't know something, I'll reach out to Mike. And if Mike doesn't know something, and I think that's definitely it.
And you already know you the plug.
Hey, man, all of us are learning, man. And because the real estate is so multifaceted. It's not just one thing. I probably not specialize into this area, and you are. You know, because that's the area decided, and it's so many things, man. It's foreclosures, distressed properties. You know, it's for sell by owners, expires, short sales. It's buyers, different bracket, investors, entrepreneurs. I mean, it's so much. You can never specialize. You know, learn all of it. You know, and I think that's what we have each other to be able to lean on each other and learn. Yeah. And no, definitely, it's a good market. Real estate. Combs Premier coming to you live, you know, Rose the Realtor. We got the Bacon Realtor here. So,
yes,
Mike, it was nice speaking with you, man.
Likewise.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off.